And this is why we are here to celebrate this relationship that started about 41 years ago with SAB, 31 years with Castle. For me, it takes me back to when I was a kid in 1996 when professional rugby became something big. The biggest tournament that was then was the Tri-Nations, which is now has become the rugby champs. And now the Castle rugby champs. And we're here to celebrate that. For me, it's the 2004, 20 years ago, where I saw a friend of mine, may his soul rest in peace, Soli Chibilika, and one of the ads. And my singing is bad, but I'll try. Ambanati kumuli wetu, ambanati. It was an iconic ad because it had the Springbok captain, the Bafana captain, and the Proteas captain. And that's the relationship, that's what we're here to celebrate. So without further ado, can I please call upon our back-to-back world champions and Springboks, Edwill van der Merwe, Faf de Klerk, and Lood de Jager to come and join me on stage. Just before we get through all of that, let's check some protocols. If you need to relieve yourself, you need the toilet, just on my right-hand side, if you walk through that, you just keep on walking, you'll see the signs, you see the loos over that side. I would like to welcome all our stakeholders to your media guys. Good day, I could say, because it's that time. And just a few people to be mentioned before. Anli Murray, who's here, our mother of the Springboks. I mean, she looked after me, which was not an easy job, but thank you so much. Looking still looking beautiful as usual. And then I would like to welcome Mr. Thomas Lawrence. Thank you so much, our brand director of Castle, who is here sharing this with us. Shavia Badol, Itanasi Makubela, Roberto Twala. Thank you so much. As I mentioned, the media is here with us too. So it's going to be good times. So if any one of you is into social medias, our hashtag for today's event, I think you've seen it around, is hashtag Castle Rugby Championship. Feel free to tag Castle at that, at Castle Live SA, across all, and please tag the Springboks. Tag the Springboks because most people will follow you. It's world champions. Well, gives me a great pleasure to welcome you, gents. But first things first, we have to start off about health. Health is wealth. Knowing you guys were not down in Australia. Lood, I'll start from your side. It's not from tallest to shortest, but it's just the way that you guys have set down. I think you're trying to get away from the chandeliers. How are you feeling? How are you doing? How's the recovery?
Yes, first I feel I have to introduce myself to everybody again. So I've been on this field so long ago, people keep asking me, are you retired? I'm like, no. I want to get back there, it's just been a while. Yeah, Bob's is going well. No, it's a slow process, but we're taking it day by day. Just following the doctors and the physiotherapists' advice, and hopefully, you know, be back on the field soon enough.
I'm starting to get scared of my job now, seeing you on TV so many times. All the podcast heroes. Edwill, tell us, first year in this sort of environment, how's your recovery? I mean, we're all going to remember your journey for the rest of our lives too, because you made sure that we do. What a try you scored, and congratulations for being a Springbok.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, recovery is going well. Much like Lood, working quite hard with my physio team to be back on the field as soon as possible. And yeah, I mean, the last couple of weeks have been a dream come true, really in the essence of what it means. Something that I've dreamt about my whole life. And yeah, I couldn't actually believe how well it went on the day. So hopefully there's more games to come.
And then Faf, I don't know if you need to introduce yourself. Everyone knows you with that copper hair. How's things going? How are you keeping up? And just give us where and where you at.
Yeah, good afternoon or good morning. Yeah, it's good to see you all in a bit of a more chilled way, not after a game or before a game. But yeah, I'm doing well. Recovery is going really well. Yeah, like Lood said, it's just a process with medical staff. But yeah, I should be able to get going pretty soon. And yeah, it's just it's good to be here and good to see you all. And yeah, let's have a fun day.
Let's have a fun day. So when I was still at school, talking about Castle and how it's been part of this heritage of ours, our lives and as rugby players. Was I still at school, I was, unfortunately, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunately, but I was at school with Hanyani Shimangi. And we decided that one day after a school tour that we're going to make a pledge to each other that we're going to go pro. So we said, you know what, we're going pro, bro. And luckily enough, we got called up. It was all Curry Cup those days. We were both sitting on the bench, standard. And they yanked our numbers up, and it was at the same time. And I crossed over and I looked over to the touch judge's shoulder, and I said, "Hey yo, we're going pro, bro." And it's those kind of memories and connections. I mean, we talk about the connections, the memories, and the stuff that we do. I mean, when you think about the legacy of Castle and the Springboks and the Rugby Championship, what comes to your mind?
I think Castle has always been synonymous with Bok Rugby, you know. Growing up as a youngster, I can't remember when Castle was not the sponsor of the Boks or the Rugby Championship. Going through the years, you know, like special memories, I think Mario Subban scoring 4 ties against the All Blacks in a Castle jersey, in a Bok jersey with Castle as a sponsor, but it's a pretty special memory. 2009, the boys winning the Tri-Nations, beating the All Blacks in Hamilton, first time in a very long time. So, you know, growing up for me, I'm 31 years old now, you know, I've just had memories with you know, where Bok Rugby has been involved with Castle, and it's been, you know, it's actually a partnership that stood the test of time, you know.
Straight to the slogan.
It's yeah, it's been, like I said, you know, it's such a big part of Bok Rugby, Castle being the sponsor, and it's great to be, you know, part of a day like today, celebrating the sponsorship and being here and just having a nice, relaxed chat to everybody.
Yeah, I know, it's one of those chilling around with your mates around the Braai. A few later, you can even loosen up. And all, let's talk about it. I mean, to you, the heritage, the legacy of this massive competition. To put it in perspective, when Tri-Nation started, it was 3 Southern Hemisphere giants who all of those 3 teams had won a World Cup. New Zealand in 1987, Australia in 91, and South Africa in 95. And the Rugby Champ started, and the Tri-Nation started in 96. So looking at that and then just thinking of the moment we are at and just your reflection of that.
Yeah, and obviously, I think the Castle Rugby Championship is one of the most prestigious competitions in the world, maybe just behind the Rugby World Cup. And as you mentioned, it's 4 of the biggest teams in the world competing for that trophy. So hopefully I can be involved in that in the future. And just 2 memories that stand out for me of the Castle Rugby Championship was 2019 when Herschel made his debut.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm quite good friends with Herschel. We grew up together in a small town called Kalmo in Stellenbosch. And yeah, but I think it was just a proud moment for our whole community when he became a Springbok and then on his debut scored 2 tries, so that was pretty special. And then the other one was 2 years ago. I think of the Instagram caption that I made.
Yeah.
I watched the Castle Rugby Championship, the match between the All Blacks and the Springboks, and I was in the stands, obviously part of the line, but I was in the stands as a Springbok rugby fan, and it was my first game watching the Springboks play. And ever since I saw it, I told myself even so more I want to be part of that. And I took a picture with my now wife, and I said, "Eendag as ek groot is," which means one day when I'm grown up, I want to play for the Springboks, and very fortunate that dream has become reality.
Well, that deserves a round of applause. I mean, it's a beautiful story. I mean, Faf, iconic players have played in that position at number 9 jersey. I mean, in your sort of humble way and thinking about what you have contributed to this tournament, what does it mean to you? How big is it when it comes to that legacy and that heritage?
yeah, it's an old cliche, but it means a lot, and it's something that you, like when I grew up, didn't think I'd ever be a part of. It's something that you see on the TV and you think these guys are absolute monsters and your heroes, and you don't even really dream of being there. You obviously want to, but yeah, I think when I grew up, my dad was chairperson of a few rugby clubs, so I was from a very small age involved in rugby and being in change rooms, and but back then it was more about drinking the castle than playing good rugby. So
and the nice thing about it is that you're responsible enough, you're of age, and keep it there. You were of age, which is an important bit.
No, I did not. But going into the change room afterwards, smell of deep heat, and everyone sitting around just enjoying themselves, drinking a castle, and then watching the Springboks that weekend and seeing that's a sponsor, sort of thinking like, is this the magic juice that everyone needs? But I don't think that will always get you there, but it's always great to, I think just for me, walking in after a game, you see there's a bucket of castles in the middle and you're celebrating your well-earned victory. It's just that time you spend with your mates, chatting through the game. It's always special.
Our castle does break down walls and build bonds. It's one of those things, because after you sort of take away all those ambitions, we really get to really find out about you. Gents, 2 rounds have gone by. 2024 Castle Lager Rugby Championship, Australia. The first test, what was it that for you, knowing before you got injured, that you wanted to achieve there, that you saw, and maybe for us, the untrained eye, we didn't see, that you think that gave you guys a chance and opportunity on this tour?
Yeah, I was obviously involved now before they went over, and I think the structures that Tony and them are putting in place, and the great mix of a bit more experienced guys and young guys coming together, and the bond that they really created there is something very special. But I know I think I've never beaten Australia away from home, so I know it's always a challenge. They're always obviously also going through a transition phase, but to do what they did is something really spectacular, and I think it's a testament to the hard work that everyone's been putting in, from the coaching staff through to every player. So I think that's something that they can cherish, that moment, and take it back home and really feel that sense of accomplishment. It's far from done now, but just the way they never seem to not be in control was something that really stood out for me. Like Australia, I never thought Australia was going to do anything against us, and the boys managed to pull 2 great victories through.
Yeah, it takes a team with high standards. You being part of this setup, what was your take when you looked at the progression that has been made in Australia when you're watching it from the outside? I mean, you've tasted that and you know how hard you guys are working. About what was your take watching as a fan and as someone who's involved in the Springboks now?
Yeah, it's quite funny because now my wife has a lot of questions when we watch a rugby.
What call was that?
No, I think the environment at the Springbok is a high performance one. It's very demanding, but I think the amount of detail and preparation you go through, it gets so prepared for the match. So when I watched the 2 tests, there was never a moment that I doubted that the boys would get the victory, and comfortably so in both matches. I think just something that stood out to me was Curtis Chai was a little bit of magic that came out of nowhere.
When no one wanted to touch him. I thought he had Ebola.
Yeah. So that was quite special. Obviously the second test was a bit more difficult with the conditions, but I think the guys, like Faf mentioned now, the structures that are in place allow the guys to play a brand that's becoming the kind of the new identity of the Springboks, and it's quite exciting to watch as a fan.
Good, because now you've turned yourself into a bit of a pundit. We might as well go into it. For you, South Africa, two tests and played a number of players. I think 33 players who are on tour got used. What reflection is that of the Springbok environment, and what is your take when you see something like that happen?
Yeah, Bobs, I think South African rugby is in the healthiest position it's ever been. To go over to Australia with a relatively, giving almost everybody a chance. I think RG is the only guy that didn't play on the whole tour, and he had a bit of a niggle. And to still beat Australia comfortably away from home while bleeding in youngsters mixed with the experience. And like Edwill said, it's a high performance environment, but what this also brings is that competitiveness within the team, within the group, and that just makes us so much stronger. I honestly think I'm really excited for the future of SA Rugby, and what the boys are doing at the moment is really special.
Yeah, it is. For myself, one of the best teams I thought in the world was my school first team, Del College in 1993. These guys went unbeaten for years, and when I watch the Springbok this day and age, I still get the same zeal and excitement when I see who's starting, who's coming off the bench. We talk about the bomb squad. Let's talk about that excitement and what the Springboks are made of now. You all got stories, Faf, and talking to the brand, how we are made, and those people, those who were there at your inception, at the beginning of time, when you were starting or when you had these dreams. Who are those people that were there when you were really building to what you are now?
Yeah, I think there's always a lot of people that come along your way which add a bit of influence there. But I think probably my mom and dad, probably the biggest two. And for me personally, always learning more out of disappointment, or it sort of seems that when there's big disappointment, something good comes along. And that was difficult to learn in the beginning, but now you learn to accept it, and you try and figure ways to improve yourself to not be in that position again. So but I think parents is for me a big thing. My family, always there no matter what happened. If I had a bad game, a good game, if I thought I should have been in this team and I didn't. But that leads back to everything is how we made as South Africans, and it's just, like you said earlier, it's the grit and the fights and the never give up attitude and all that things tend to come to fruition. And I think that's something special that we have that you can't explain to a lot of people played around the world now, and it's difficult to find that.
You must have missed the beer, especially when you were in Cell and a bit of sushi, no meat in Japan.
Definitely.
Lood, how you were made, and it's a very important sort of statement that sort of comes out. Talking to that, your trusted circle, your trusted friends, and a story that sort of talks to that.
Yeah, I think there's nobody closer to you for you that are married than your wife, and she's always kept me accountable. Because I think, you can also get down in the dumps when you play rugby, but again, you can become a bit too important as well when things go well. And it's great to have those people in your life just to keep you in check and tell you that, listen, surprise, it's not all about you. You're not as special as you think you are, but in a good way, in a loving way, just keeping you grounded, because I think, you go through so much, your career ebbs and flows, you go through deep valleys and you get high peaks, and I think through both of them you need people to really, just to remind you of what really is important. I think for me that's been my wife since I've started to play rugby, I must say. Thank her for that.
No, you're lucky, and she's a special lady. Edwill, to yourself, your journey has been not the norm. Late bloomer in so many ways, but at the same time you acquired so much to help you understand this moment. Just take us through how that sort of shaped up for you, and those times and those people who really encouraged you to see your dreams.
I think probably the two most important people are my mom and my dad. So as Bobo mentioned, I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. So I played varsity cup straight out of school. So I didn't really make my professional debut until I was 24, 25. It took a little bit longer, but I think the lessons that I learned is probably endurance and perseverance. As Faf mentioned, that's the true South African spirit, tough people, people who push through. And yeah, I think that's synonymous with my story. I took a little bit longer. That's why I have this tattoo that says it's a marathon, not a sprint, which basically means you'll be at the right place at the right time in your life when the time is right, when God allows it. So yeah, that's the motto that I live by, and yeah, that's my story basically.
That's amazing, but may you forever get what you deserve. And it is about what we deserve. We're back in South Africa. Exciting times. I mean, the biggest rivalry, I guess, in the world. Yes, they say New Zealand is number 3, but we all know what happens. It was they beat Ireland in that quarterfinal. I don't understand those rankings, but I'm not the one who makes them. The All Blacks in South Africa, Ellis Park, Cornick Stadium, and a fixture that has become a staple diet, especially when you get a few castles and a few friends around, and a friend of a friend comes around. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to the support. Actually, let's not forget to mention Brisbane Fontaine and Perth Toria, all over. I mean, Perth Elizabeth, yeah. Just to you guys, the way that you have captured the imagination of the nation. What do you think it is that sort of makes people be drawn towards you, towards the Springboks, towards what we are about?
I think from what obviously winning does that, that helps a lot. But I think since Rusty's come along and just he's very honest with everything he says, so I think that the people feel more like they're connected to us in a deeper way. Stuff that's been said over the last 3-4 years that would never been said by players previously. So I think it's a lot more honesty going in there, and people can appreciate that, and they feel more part of you and more part of the team. And yeah, I think that is where the support's grown so much, and we definitely have felt it grow since just before 2019, and it's just suddenly gotten completely crazy over the last few months. But it's very special, and the people. One thing South Africans can do is also enjoy a beer together, and I think there's going to be a lot of castles drunk on Saturday and maybe Friday night as well.
The one test match that everyone always misses out on, especially at Loft, is it's the one after the game at the parking fields on the B field. Biggest test match. If you ever want to get involved in terms of understanding how it feels to be at the rugby stadium, go there, but make sure that you have medical aid, because it'll be different. Just boys playing around in the back. The All Blacks coming to South Africa. I know you formed the Cape. There's a lot of All Black fans are going to be there. What can people expect? And then just to talk to it, why is it like that? Because I do have an explanation, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, and obviously I think it will. It's going to be an intense test match, not just on the field, but probably in the stands as well. As I mentioned, I'm from Cape Town, so I know Cape Crusaders in that sense. But I think a lot more people are starting to support the Springboks. Speaking from personal experience, I've managed to convert 2 of my best friends from All Blacks to Springbok supporters, and also my grandfather. So which is
everyone can see the light.
He's been an All Black supporter his whole life, but he's a Springbok now. So yeah, I think it will be an intense test match with a lot of supporters on both sides, which makes it quite exciting. So I'm looking forward to the test matches in the Braai.
Ellis Park is looming. Yes, I will tell you that story. Ellis Park is looming. Massive test. Springboks 2 wins on the bounce. We saw New Zealand lose against Argentina and then come back. How important is this as a challenge for the Springboks? Because there's a whole lot of challenges with this squad. We win World Cups, but there's always something that we challenge ourselves about.
Yeah, Bob, it doesn't get bigger than the All Blacks playing the Springboks at Ellis Park. You know, when those planes fly overhead, you know, it's go time. It's real. So I think the whole country is excited for that. I think the one mistake you'll make, the biggest mistake you'll ever make, is to underestimate an All Black team, especially one that's hurt after they lost. You could see it on the weekend when they beat Argentina quite convincingly from the first collision, how desperate they were and how proud they are to represent their country. So it's going to be a massive, I'm actually, getting a bit too excited about it. It's going to be a massive battle between two teams that it means the world to. They've actually have a very good record at Ellis Park. I know people always speak about altitude and how it's an advantage for us. I think they've got a very decent record there, so they'll back themselves to get a result. They'll come over here with a definite plan. So it's going to be, I think it's, if you're a rugby purist, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's one of those tests that you put into a bucket list. You really want to go out and see that. If you don't understand rugby and you want to understand it for the first time, it doesn't get better. Green and gold against the All Blacks. Just to that story I was telling you about, so why there is always a lot of support for the All Blacks in Cape Town. Back in the day, 1986, when the tours was a band tour, so all the All Black players were not allowed to stay in hotels and all of that. So they stayed actually with the communities. So those are the communities these people share the bed with. The All Blacks were there for breakfast in the morning, helping out the kids, helping out. So that's how that has become part of their heritage of the people in Cape Town. It's because of that and how the All Blacks actually share that space. They live in communal space with them. And to see them coming out and representing the All Blacks in South Africa and in Cape Town, that's why they show that appreciation. So nothing untoward, everything all good. South Africans always opening up a hand and helping out. This is what we do. There's a lot that's going to be happening over the weekends, but first of all, to you gents, thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you guys are. Just always availing yourselves, always being that true light and a beacon of light that we look upon, role models. So please don't tempt them whilst they're out there sort of socializing and mingling now that we're going to have a braai. Thank you so much, and we really, really do appreciate you. Just a few things that we have to wrap up. This is our chat that we've had. It's just that there will be a few activations at all the matches. Just to talk about, there will be the return of the Castle Corner experience, which will be at the stadiums on the both games that will be played, even in Nelspruit when we come back for Argentina. Don't forget that. Just to win tickets, if you want to win any tickets, please go and visit castlecorner.co.za to join up to win tickets for these sort of opportunities to be part of these activations that will be happening in stadium. Otherwise, you can dial star 120 star 1895, which is that year, the serious year where Castle became part of who we are. Became the fabric. So the in-stadium experiences will be scrum and bucky. If you're that keen, you can go and scrum and bucky, spin and win, Castle accuracy challenge, and there'll be a Castle drone drop at the stadium. So that's all that is happening. Please, all the reminders will be on the social media and all the details. As I mentioned, castlecorner.co.za. That's where you can win the tickets to be part of this. And I thank you everyone for being with us. Now we're gonna do what we do best. Everyone together, joining together to enjoy a bit of low, refreshing Castle, and we're gonna have a braai, and we're gonna be as South African as we can. And please support the Springboks. Don't forget the hashtag Castle Rugby Championship. Just to mention of what has happened here. We're gonna have the photo opportunities. You can take photos. But please don't compromise my guys, otherwise you're dealing with me, and I'm not that nice. Thank you so much, and yeah, it's been great to have this afternoon and the day with you. Let the good times roll.
Chevy.
Thanks.